A bonus XP podcast, episode 6. Game and talk show. Talk about the games. Call Martin Scrub. You know the deal by now. We're doing a bit of a different intro this week to what we would usually do because we wanted to do a bit of a thank you first. Last week we hit record numbers across the board on everything we do with this. We had like the highest concurrent viewers on Twitch we've had so far. We had the highest views of the VOD we've had so far, the most downloads, the most listens on SoundCloud, the analytics for iTunes and stuff like that are the highest they've been. So, like, I don't know. I think we must be on to something. Like, people are taken to us calling you a scrub, and
or we're either doing it right, or people just like hearing
the failure.
Yeah.
I have another theory, and I think it's the subliminal messaging you guys are inserting in all of your podcasts.
You're not supposed to tell them that. God damn it! That breaks the whole thing.
So the third voice you hear there is our guest, Stemor61. I'm sure most of you guys who are watching us on Twitch know who that is, but for the rest of the nerds out there in the internet who don't, do you want to introduce yourself, who you are, what you're doing on our show? What do you want?
Yeah, well, like you said,
what's going on?
I'm Stemor. I'm Steven IRL. I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. I've known Lynn for probably almost a year now.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
You're literally one of the one of the first people I met when I started like a year ago.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you can find me at that link on Twitch. You know how to put a slash at the end of twitch.tv and then my name. You can see it. It's right there on the screen.
What's going on?
All the technical jargon there.
Yes. So, as always, we start with what we've been up to this week, like what we've been playing, things of this nature. We'll start with our guest. What have you been playing this week, Stem?
Well, as we were going over in sort of the pre-show, HOTS, and I just finished up Rebel Galaxy this past week.
Oh, how's that?
Which is a space sim fighter thing.
Is that the one that I saw you play like the other week, which sort of had like the Assassin's Creed ship style combat? Was it that game?
Yeah, it has that sort of naval combat thing going on. I like to think of it as Firefly in space. So,
Ooh.
Yeah. If you like Firefly, you probably like that game. It's only like $20 too, so.
Oh, nice. I have heard of it. I haven't seen a lot about it though.
Yeah, I think it's made by a team of like 2 people.
Wow.
And
really?
It's really good.
Ooh, I'll have to.
Was it Kickstarter then, or like to be made by such a small team and actually be on Steam? Was it a Kickstarter thing, or?
I don't know their deal as far as like a Kickstarter or anything like that, or if they were on early access at one point or like greenlit. I don't see anything that tells me that, but it just kind of showed up on Steam, and I think I requested a key at one point, but never heard anything back. And then one of my viewers bought it for me, so I ended up playing it, and it's tons of fun. Finished the campaign. There's like still stuff to do, but at this point I'm so overpowered that.
It's all the busy work, yeah. There's no point, sort of thing. Is it got multiplayer or is it just single?
Single player only.
Fair enough. You been playing anything else?
Other than that, Darkest Dungeon.
Love that game.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Have you played any more Darkest Dungeon? Like, since we last talked, are you still in your like little whiny like
No,
the RNG hates me mode?
No, it's one of those games I've found that I play in short little bursts because it's not even so much the rage thing. It's like it's a very good game and it's I love the aesthetic of it. I think it looks amazing. But it's one of those games that because you are the core gameplay loop is crawl a dungeon, stop, I sort of do 1 or 2 dungeons and then put the game away for a bit. It's one of those things I just pick up and play every so often.
Yeah.
It's not something I could sit down for like a 6-hour long stint on.
No. Have you beat it, Stem? Like, Have you finished it?
No, I'm nowhere close to the end of Darkest Dungeon.
No. It's quite long, isn't it? Like, I think it's got quite a sizable campaign.
Yeah, especially if you get like bad RNG and your best characters get killed, then you got to kind of grind.
You start all over again.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always brothels, though, aren't there? So, dulls the pain a bit.
Always brothels.
You gotta wrap it before you tap it, though. You might get syphilis.
That's a life lesson there. I think we can all learn from.
Love it before you love it.
Yeah. So, shall we move on from that? Why does it always end up to boobs and dicks and that? Like, we have
because we're nerds.
It just everything we talk about on this show just seems to gravitate towards that. I don't.
And why
I blame
do you think
mostly.
We're getting high numbers all the time?
That's true.
Yeah, we bring the boobs and dicks hard.
Well,
that's
that's false advertising. You know that someone's going to sue us for saying that we will provide you with boobs, and then we don't provide you with boobs. That's how the internet works.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Go on then. What you been playing this week?
I have been getting heavily back into Pokemon Y. And being the absolute nerd that I am, I haven't got very far in it. I've just been doing the collecting of the Pokemons and training them. And
have you got any that are pretty?
I have quite a few that are pretty, and I just got my Tyrant. So I have a small.
I don't know what that one is.
A Tyrant is basically a baby T-Rex.
Okay.
That does badass moves, and so he's sitting there on my team happily. For starter Pokemon wise in this generation, because the last time I played it, I went for Froakie, the water Pokemon. I am now using Fennekin, the fire one, because it makes it a bit better. But the problem is quite a lot of the early game Pokemon you can catch are also fire types. So I had a point where half of my squad were all fire, and they started to get wrecked.
Yeah, but isn't it always the answer just to burn things?
No, it's not always the answer, but it is sometimes the answer.
I've been playing the correct Pokemons this week of Pokemon Yellow. Well, the proper Pokemons.
I'm glad you finally agree that Yellow is the correct one.
Well, Blue is I didn't say it's the best one. Blue is the best one.
True.
I don't actually remember anything of Yellow, so... Did you say true?
Yeah, Blue is the best.
Yeah, thank you. There we go. We have our replacement for Martin then. You are hired. He's an idiot who thinks that Red is the best. I mean,
no, I don't.
What world
do you... Best. Out of those original three, Yellow is the best.
No.
But out of all the games, X and Y is the best generation.
No, there's too many.
Strongly disagree.
Yeah, it's too many. Like, I'm not going to spend, like, the 20 years of my life catching the 20 billion Pokemon that you can get now. It's ridiculous. It's just entirely too many. Like, at least with the original three, 150 is sort of reasonable, and you could probably get those.
Just proving that you can't count higher than that. That's the only thing. Variety is the spice of life. The more they
not really though. It's like copy and pasted of the same Pokemon. They just put a nose in a slightly different position, or they'll put a spike or like a slightly different angle on one of their arms or something like that. It's like, yeah, that's a new one.
Not quite. I will admit, like this is the reason why I went back to Pokemon Y rather than pick up Omega and Alpha, Sapphire and Ruby, because to me, Sapphire and Ruby were the worst ones they ever made, because the new Pokemon they put in were boring. I mean, come on, they had a whole evolution of Pokemon that were basically bags of rubbish, which...
Wow.
Yeah. So I went back to X and Y because seeing the Pokemons fight in 3D is best.
Yeah, but you don't actually use a 3D, do you? Because you've got a 2DS.
No, but I mean in a not like a static image sitting on a screen and then just jerks when it wants to use a move. Yeah. Seeing them actually, like, there's a camera that moves around them and things like that.
I do wonder how many people actually use the 3D and 3DS because like
I don't think a lot do.
because it fucks up the frame rate and it just I don't know about you, but it gives me a headache because you're never quite looking at it at the right angle, like because you have to constantly adjust to get it so the 3D looks right.
Perfect.
Yeah, it just gave me a headache.
The XL was a little bit better than the bog standard 3DS for that, but it still wasn't great.
No. So I've never switched the 3D on, like past the first day when I got it. I've never switched the 3D on, like once.
No,
like,
that's why I went out and got a 2DS, because there was just no point.
No.
And
they're cheaper as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they are cheaper. The only problem I have with the 2DS is that the top screen is the size of an XL, but the bottom screen is the size of a normal. So it looks a bit weird at first, and and
you can't flip it down either, which is one of the kind of the cool things about the 3DS is you're supposed to be able to flip it up and then put it in your pocket, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not that big. It's not as big as I thought it was going to be. So it's not like.
I suppose because you haven't got a social life and you never leave the house, you haven't got to worry about taking it anywhere, anyways.
You're going to get such a slap when I see. I swear.
You know how you could fight me sooner than the next time I come home?
Wait till UFC 2 comes out.
Yeah! I'm glad you mentioned that game. Have you?
Pre-ordered.
Yes! Yeah. That means you get bonusXP and Mike Tyson and who else? Sakuraba. I think you get Hoist Gracie as well. I think there's 4.
I'll be honest. I've heard of bonusXP. I obviously know Mike Tyson. Don't know the others.
Mark Tyson.
No idea who they are.
I don't know who
Mike
I don't know who Mark Tyson is.
Mike Tyson. To be fair, he's taken so many shots to the head. He probably thinks his own name's Mark at this point.
Bless him. Yeah, because he's a really famous MMA fighter, isn't he, Mike Tyson?
Yeah,
well known for that.
I am getting it, but I am telling you now, I am not fighting you until I've
played
for a while. Yeah, because
where's the fun in that?
Because I'm already probably going to get my teeth smashed in. At least the thing is, at least I'll know what the controls are, rather than when you randomly play me on the normal UFC and I've forgotten all the controls because I don't own it.
Well. You're just being boring, to be honest.
Oh, you don't like the idea that I might actually give you a challenge if I play it?
Well, that's a bit of a leap, I feel.
I would absolutely love it if I got it and I played it for a while and then we did it on a stream and I started kicking your ass. That would be fun.
It would obviously only happen because of lag. And that's the only feasible explanation for such a thing to happen.
Yeah, of course. Setting up the excuses early. There you go. Everybody's.
I've said it before. That's the best thing about those games is because of the way the knockout physics and stuff work. You can be losing for, 15 minutes of that fight, and you can land one punch in the last second and still win anyway. So you always have a puncher's chance.
It puts everybody on a bit of an even keel. So
yeah. I feel like that's our quota for UFC for one episode. Because when that actually comes out, I'm literally going to talk about it for 3 hours. So
I know you are. And I think we're boring Stemor as well because he's gone quite quiet.
Well, fine.
Hi.
Just come to the light. Just play it.
Once the words like UFC and MMA came up, my brain switched off. I'm like, I'm just going to let this go.
I'm kind of like that with MOBAs, to be fair.
Well.
Right, what else have you been playing? Because that was obviously a conversation about the Pokemons.
Yeah, the Pokemons. I've also been playing, as Stemor mentioned, Heroes of the Storm, because the new character's out and he's fucking amazing.
Zul's pretty dope.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, it's Zul, who is the Necromancer from Diablo 2, and his whole playstyle is basically all the skeletons. Every time a minion dies near him, he resummons it as a skeleton for himself. And as you level him, you can buff him to summon more skeletons. And then every time you summon a skeleton, which happens automatically, you get health back. So I can basically become an undying killing machine.
Pretty much.
So I love it. And he's one of the few heroes I think in the game that both heroic abilities are viable, depending on how you want to play it. Like most heroes, I find, oh no, this one is to me better than the other, so I will always pick one. But his two heroics, you either summon a shitload of skeleton mages that damage and slow any enemies near them.
That's probably the best one, because it's
which
like
is fantastic.
You can totally zone people out, or you can block them in from running away, and it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, that wall does damage. Have fun.
Yeah, but I have seen a lot of people pick his other ability, which is basically he runs into the middle of people and detonates a poisonous explosion, which does massive damage. And a lot of people have been using that. And if you've got it, especially if you take his first talent on his armor, you can take a talent that makes all basic attacks miss, but pretty much. You just run into the middle, trigger that so no one can hit you, detonate, and run away giggling.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah, he's a really cool character. He's probably my favourite character in the game at the moment now.
Like, his two ults are kind of like game situational and sort of player style. Like, you can kind of play him differently. Because he has abilities that are like, oh, well, you know, basic attacks. Doesn't he have one that's like basic attacks do poison, basic attacks like do something else? Like, he's very versatile.
Yeah, I think I like as well that his abilities. I like his scythe ability, which is a lot of characters have things where they throw something outwards from them, but his scythe ability, he summons it, and then it sort of stays there spinning for like half a second or something, and then wherever you've moved to, it will then follow you back and damage anything it hits. So you can set it out and then move yourself to a place where it will get maximum damage and things like that. So he's a really fun character to play.
Yeah, it's another ability in his arsenal that's not only is it good at just doing damage, it zones people out, and if you're really good at positioning him, you can deal damage to somebody you wouldn't otherwise have been able to deal damage to. So, yeah, he's cool. I haven't got to play him, but I know a friend who bought him up instantly and has been playing him a lot and likes him a lot, so...
Yeah, so that's...
Is that our daily, weekly quota of MOBAs covered?
Yeah, alright.
We could talk about Shanghai Major.
Oh, man was Knob. Knob got fired. Is that the general gist?
No, I mean, like, it's over now. Like, Team Secret won it.
You can talk about it if you want, because I have no idea what that is.
Yeah,
so.
Likewise.
Oh. Well, I'll give you a brief rundown so we can, like, you know, move on or whatever. Basically, Shanghai Major is one of the 4 big tournaments of the year for Dota. TI being the biggest.
Yeah.
Obviously. And it's about a $3 million prize pool. Takes place in Shanghai, like the name sort of give you an indication of.
Yeah.
As you referenced, Lim, it was kind of a disaster to start with. It got better later on. Production problems, and they brought on a host at last minute and then ended up firing him because of reasons that no one really knows about, and just for lack of a better term, it's a clusterfuck.
Yeah, complete clusterfuck by the sounds of it.
So, and there was some pretty big upsets in that tournament, and Secret ended up winning it last night, so.
Fair enough.
Right, should we move on from the MOBAs?
Yeah.
Anything else you've been playing?
Apart from dabbling back into Darksiders 2 again, not really. Like, I just did a few more quests on that, and I just love being deaf and being a dick to giants. That's basically all I've been doing in that.
Fair enough.
Yep.
So I suppose I should go over my things.
What have you been playing, sir?
Well, I've had, like, literally the worst fucking week.
Oh god, we're going into it, are we?
Well, there's several things. Like there was a massive industrial fire, like the street over from where I live, so I nearly died from like toxic fire aids and things, and like
damn, I told those arsonists the right address. They must have written it down wrong.
Yeah, gone to the street over, and I was eating one day, and my tooth imploded. Essentially, that happened, and I was playing Far Cry Primal this week, and the game fucked itself, literally, and it doesn't work. Full stop now, and I was eaten by a vagina monster. So. It's been the fucking best week of all time.
I'm sorry, no, you're going to have to clarify that.
You can't just sort of
Moving
on
on.
over the vagina monster.
That's not
thing.
really a nice thing to call your partner.
What part do you want me to break down first? The vagina monster?
Start with the vagina monster, please.
Okay, so I've been playing Twilight Princess HD. The Legend of Zelda game, and I got to the first dungeon, and there's a monster that looks like a vagina with teeth, and I fell in it. And it nommed on me.
I've played that game. I don't remember a vagina monster.
You played it before, have you? It's the forest temple, the first where there's the little monkeys. Do you know where I mean?
The main boss of that temple.
No, I've seen a room before that. It's I can't remember like specific room, but that you have to throw bombs into the vagina, and then it blows up, and you get a key to free the monkey and all this. So it was all very exciting. as chat was pointing out, I had a bit of fun with that game, like because you get to name both your character and the horse, and so I started the game up, and the first thing I called my horse was Boobs, obviously, and then like I got into the dialogue, and I realised I've missed a trick here. So we restarted the game and called the horse Your Dick, because the first line that the chick says, you walk into this forest and there's like a little lake, and she's washing the horse, and her first line of dialogue is, "I've washed your dick." And it's all very hilarious. It's just
I'd just like to let everybody know I'm currently double face palmed.
But just the jokes just write themselves. Like they really do.
Yeah.
Just like look after your dick. I like your dick, etc. Like
Welcome to the bonusXP podcast with the highbrow comedy.
Yeah, and obviously my character's called Boobies, because then everyone says hi Boobies and things like that. It's all very exciting. It's brilliant.
I really like the world that you're creating here with naming characters, because number one, there's a dick cleaning service, which is pretty nice.
This is true.
And then everyone is very happy to say hi Boobies. So what a wonderful world.
And it just makes all of the really poignant, sad scenes, because like that's one of the darker Zelda games, like with its tone and setting and everything. And then just when you're having like a death scene and they look up to you and say "Boobies, avenge me," I mean, it just takes a bit of the sting out of it, I think.
Yeah.
So
I'd just also like to point out that it's being said in chat that you're a drama queen and you nowhere near died this week.
This is slander. I'll sue. Can you sue a country? I presume you can, because I did nearly die. But yeah, okay. So Twilight Princess. I never played it the first time around, like because it came out in like the grace period between GameCube and Wii, and it was like right at the end of the GameCube life cycle, right at the start of the Wii, and I missed out on it because I didn't get a Wii until like I don't know, a year or so into it. Yeah, so I missed out on that one because like they'd already announced Skyward Sword by the time, like, which turned out to be crap in my opinion. I hated Skyward Sword. After what I've played of this one, I wish I'd have played that instead of this, to be honest. But
yeah, I was going to say, considering Skyward Sword, I believe was the first Nintendo game to get a 10 out of 10 on IGN. I was really disappointed with it.
I really didn't enjoy it. I never beat it. Like I put about 15 hours, and it's one of them games where I tried to force myself to like it. And I got 15 odd hours in. I was like, I'm still not having fun. I'm not playing this anymore.
I don't even think I got that far.
No, it's because I love Zelda. I absolutely love
Yeah.
Zelda games, and like that one just not for me.
Whereas Twilight Princess, you become a goddamn wolf and nom on people's balls. Therefore,
that is exactly why I've always wanted to play though the darker tone, which like is already interesting in itself, and then being able to be a wolf and nom on tits, you know, it's just all you need from a video game, really.
Pretty much. And also, I can't remember what's the name of the thing that rides
the
on
annoying
you when
fucker.
With the hand.
Midna.
I think I love Midna.
Really, she's doing my tits in so far. Like that's the little voiceover noise, the like the hey kind of thing. You know what Navi used to have. That annoys me. The dialogue in that is all fine, but like that.
I like Midna as a character, especially what I've seen when you play the Twilight Princess bits of Hyrule Warriors as well. She's quite good in that.
So have you played Twilight Princess originally? Like,
yeah, I played it on the GameCube.
So what's different about it? Like, other than the graphic upgrade, is there? Because I know they've got the stupid amiibo dungeon, like which you can't play unless you've bought it. But other than that, is there any actual differences? You're aware of?
I haven't played the new version, so I wouldn't.
Oh, you haven't? Oh
no.
Oh, okay.
No, I only played it originally.
Oh, okay.
And it's to this day, apart from Ocarina of Time, which will always be the best one.
No.
It will.
No, Link to the Past. Don't even try it.
Oh God, here we go.
You've already been fired twice in a very short lifespan of the show. Well, I mean, we can make it 3.
You can't think of any new jokes,
wow.
So you just keep firing me.
Wow.
No, I love Twilight Princess. Like you said, I love the tone of it. I loved being a wolf, and also the cool thing about it. Correct me if I'm wrong. It is Twilight Princess where you get taught your new sword moves by the skeleton dude.
Yeah, I've only been taught one so far, but it's basically Papyrus from Undertale. Essentially, is what he looks like.
If you look at the theories of the Zelda timeline, that skeleton dude is actually a version of Link from another game that died and didn't manage to complete the game. I think
very
it's
meta.
I think it's supposed to be one from Ocarina of Time that died.
Yeah.
So
fair enough. But yeah, I've only put in about 5 hours or so. I'm like properly early on in, but everything I've played so far I've loved. It's fantastic. I'm so glad I picked that up. Like
the weird sort of digital way everything comes through those weird giant pixel portals. I loved that as well. I thought that was a cool art choice.
Well, like from what I've played, I'm just hoping that you do get to play as the wolf quite a lot, and it's not just like 2 or 3 scenes sort of thing. I hope it's sort of half and half kind of thing.
You are the wolf in everywhere that the darkness is. You are forced into the wolf form.
Yeah. So is it sort of half and half, roughly?
I would say so. Yeah. While you're clearing out the darkness or whatever they call it, the twilight.
Yeah.
You have to be the wolf because that's the kind of curse on you. And then once you've
that's not a curse.
Become Link. No, it's not.
I would much rather just stay as that forever, to be honest.
Yeah.
Everything's improved when you can be a wolf. But yeah, played about 5 hours and loving it, and I'll play it because UFC's not this weekend; it's the one after. So I've got roughly 2 weeks to beat it. So I'm not in any rush.
Next Thursday.
Yeah. So I'm take my time and enjoy it. I should be able to beat it in that sort of time, I reckon. For most Zelda games are 20-25 hours long, something like that.
Yeah, depending on how much of the side stuff you do. And I can't remember how much side stuff Twilight Princess actually has. I know it's not on the level. It feels
quite linear compared to some of the other ones, to be honest.
It's definitely not on the level of like Majora's Mask finding all the secret masks. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that. And the other main game I played this week is I finished Far Cry Primal. I beat that this week. And,
before it
so yeah, I'll finish with that. But Like everything that I have played of it was I really enjoyed actually with Far Cry Primal. Like I didn't 3 and 4 didn't do a lot for me really. I was kind of bored with them like quite quickly. But I like especially early on in Far Cry Primal you feel like really underpowered. So like when you have to take on these outposts and like if you get caught by a group of people, you know you're going to get fucked up. Like it actually brings strategy into it, which for me just means I'll shoot one guy in the face, someone else will have seen me shoot the guy in the face, and then I just run away. That's generally what my strategy sort of ended up being for most of the game. But
I would have imagined the strategy would be summon, like, call in your biggest, baddest pets. Just to
pretty
fuck
much.
everyone up.
That pissed me off. Like the coolest part of that game by far is the beasts that you can tame. And like the first thing I did as soon as they were available was tame the 3 legendary, or you know, the 3 special creatures that you can tame.
Yeah.
But like you go stealthy and like I always had the saber-toothed tiger because that was my favourite, because why would it not be? And he was called Dave, obviously. And Dave the saber-toothed tiger. And like you'd go stealthy in these bushes and then he'd start growling and shouting at the people and charge after him, even though I didn't tell him to. It's like, well, I can't be all stealthy and ninja-y like if you're just going to charge after people and nom on them. That doesn't work.
But if you stay stealthy though, if you stay out of sight, you can still send him into nom on people, but if they don't spot you, they'll only attack him.
That is true, but they're not as spongy for damage as you would hope they'd be. Like it doesn't take even like the top monster, like the top beasts in the game. Like they're not like they'll be able to take on maybe 2 or 3, but if you get some of the elite enemies, like they'll still, you know, they won't last long.
No.
So it's not like you can clear out an outpost with that as your only tactic or anything. You have to get involved. But like the game overall is great. The story's kind of non-existent, but it kind of doesn't need to be there for a game like that, I don't think.
Well, the story's never been the biggest feature of Far Cry anyway.
No, but then the cool thing about 3 and 4 was the villains, and there isn't nothing like that with this one, which is a shame. No, but like there's 2 rival tribes. There's one that set fire to people, and then there's one that eat people. So yes. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't merge together and set up like a restaurant business where they catch the people, set fire to them, and then eat them. Like they're
exactly what I was thinking.
They're missing a trick there.
The people, man.
Yeah, exactly. They're missing a trick
if only
there.
Their brains had been evolved slightly more.
Exactly, but that does have the best character out of all of the Far Cry games, and called Urki. Like he's already becoming like memes and things because he's just the best. He's incredibly camp, and he just finds various ways to try and kill himself, and it's brilliant. If he thinks that if you find him 2 feathers from this pigeon, that he can jump off a cliff and fly, and then you watch him jump off a cliff and not fly.
Is that the one that I've seen a cutscene of that pisses on you?
No, that's a different dude. That is.
Oh right.
So but yeah, he's brilliant. Then he thinks there's these bears keep trying to attack me. I know if I rub myself in bear poo, they won't attack me. So what you have to do is you have to get him some bear poo, rub him in it, and then you have to send your bear, like your bear that you've tamed, after him, and your bear noms on his face, and it doesn't work. It's brilliant. That character is just fucking brilliant.
But to be fair, he sounds like the scientist of his time, because at least he's experimenting.
This is true. He was very much a philosopher.
But
yeah,
he's the forward thinker of the Neanderthal era.
Clearly, but yeah. So a little public service announcement when I'm playing that game, especially on PC: back up your fucking save, because the game auto saves at less than convenient times sometimes, and it's rendered my save unplayable because I was working my way through. I've beat the campaign and I had a couple of outposts and bits and pieces to do. I had like 2 more beasts that I hadn't tamed, which I needed to finish off, and so I worked my way through one of the 2 hardest outposts in the game, got to the final, like the the leader guy off that outpost, killed him, but because I was on low health, someone, like, I don't know, threw something at me and I died. And then the game saved as I was dying. So then when it tried to reboot into the game, it rebooted into the death animation. And it was stuck on a loop. There's no way to get back out of it. So that my entire save was fucked. So, unplayable. Can't play the game anymore.
This is the problem with consoles not having multiple...
Don't say there's problems with consoles. Stemor will, start gloating and things.
Yeah, this is the problem why there's not multiple autosaves that you get on PC.
Yeah, I don't understand why I can't have multiple save slots, why I can't manual save, because most console games you can manual save. But there's no option for that in this, and yeah, so it saved in the death animation, and that's that. Like, I had to get rid of the game. Like, there was, like, I'd already dropped 25 hours into it. I wasn't going to go back and start the whole game again just to tame the two beasts that I hadn't, sort of thing. So I was completely fucking gutted and pissed with that, to be honest. But
well, just go play Far Cry 4, because apparently the map is exactly the same.
Yeah, I read that this week. Like, someone took the map from 4 and Primal held them up next to each other, and like the way the rivers and the mountains and everything are laid out are actually identical.
So it's basically like they reused it.
Well, they took the basic map and then they just cleared everything off of it and rebuilt all of the assets on top of it, sort of thing. Which, that's fine, I suppose, but like, I guess I understand why, because of the short turnaround between 4 and Primal, but it's still a bit dicky, really, isn't it?
That's probably I just imagine that Ubisoft is like, we're gonna make Far Cry Primal, so we need like a whole new map and everything, and like this is the layout of the game, and the map designers went, I don't think we can make a new map that quickly. Let's just erase all the things off of this one, and just they won't tell the difference.
No, be totally fine. Or just stick a few huts on there instead. It'll be totally fine.
We'll just make it more primally than.
Yeah, that's essentially how that board meeting went, I would imagine.
And they're like, "Oh, this is a wonderful map. This is great. How did you guys come up with it so quickly?"
Do you reckon?
I don't know, just like.
Do you reckon the guys, like the higher ups, didn't actually realise, and like the guys who'd done the map design thought they'd got away with it?
More than likely, it's just a case they didn't even like have to delete anything out of the map. They probably just found an old, partially built map for 4 that only had the trees and stuff in it, and was like, "There you go."
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it's only once some nerd on the internet found like the similarity that because like I didn't. It's not like I noticed, or 99% of people who played it noticed. No one noticed until someone said something, So I don't know. I didn't bother me. Like, I didn't feel like this world was one I'd already seen before. Like when I played it, and I put like 20 odd hours into 4. So it's not like, I felt, fuck, I've been here before, or anything like that. So
yeah,
it's still, it's them cutting corners, isn't it?
I still want to play it because I love the whole.
Apart from that glitch, it's still fantastic. It is really good. It's got its flaws, like the melee combat's too basic, far too basic. But
yeah,
well, the whole taming aspect, and there's like far too many pointless side quests in that game. Like you learn quite early on which ones are actually worth your time, and there's quite a few that aren't. Like the ones like anything where they say, this random beast is attacking your tribesmen, just let them die because it doesn't matter. There's ones where they say, this rival tribe is attacking 3 of your dudes, let them, doesn't matter. And like there's those sort of ones, like the random events and stuff, they're completely fucking pointless.
What, it doesn't like reduce your tribe count?
No, those ones don't. No.
Oh right.
The way you can reduce your tribe count is by trying to you're sneaking through like a forest and you're hunting this creature because you need some like meat and stuff, and you shoot this dude in the head thinking he's one of the people who set people on fire, and then you actually realise he's one of your mates. That's not a good idea.
You murdered your own people.
Yeah, but it was very it was a very vicious time back then. Like, who could you really trust? You know, you never know. He might have been working for the enemy. He might have been a spy. I mean, you can't know, can you? So I think all's well that ends well.
It is something I want to play because I, as I've mentioned before, I like the whole idea of back to sort of basic fight for survival combat, like no guns and that. That's why I'm still looking forward to that. And I can never remember the name of it. That other one they've shown with the big mech dinosaur things.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes, I want that so bad. I want that to be good.
That was on episode 1, one of my most anticipated games for this year. Can't wait for it. It's going to be good. Like, from what I've seen, I can't see how they can get that wrong. And like
the frame rate dies.
You say that.
No, it does die totally. When anything happens on screen, frame rate's just like, yeah, sub 20, here we go.
Yeah, but this was like pre-alpha footage. It's very early, and like the developers, like pedigree, they don't put out poorly constructed games like that. Whether you enjoy them is, subjective, but like in terms of technical prowess of their games, they've never released a broken game, like, ever. So like, I trust them to get it right, basically, with that game. You don't know until it's out, do you? But
I'm still burnt from Watch Dogs, to be honest.
Yeah, but that game wasn't broken. It was just boring. That's the difference.
It was broken though as well. It wasn't.
Really? I didn't run into it. Like, I actually beat it. Like, I didn't think it was as bad as.
Glitches, though.
So I didn't find
lots of reported glitches.
I didn't find it as bad as a lot of people did. I think it's because people were so excited for it. They felt more bothered than I kind of was. But I quite enjoyed it, to be honest.
The downgrade pissed people off a lot as well.
Yeah, like
that was the issue.
It wasn't what was advertised, but what was there, I still enjoyed. Like, it wasn't the best game by any stretch of imagination. It's like, there's plenty of open world like action games that are better, but they're still good. What was the one which was sort of focused around martial arts and like the triad and stuff? Sleeping Dogs. That was a really good one. Like, stuff like that, that's better.
I would say to anyone who hasn't played Sleeping Dogs, if you can pick up the Ultimate Edition on Steam, it's on sale so often.
And it's on PS4 and Xbox One as well.
If you can pick it up on sale or whatever, get it, because it's one of the best martial arts.
Underrated.
Oh yeah, it's so satisfying when you smash people's heads into things.
Yeah, and it came out at a time when it came out in a saturated Christmas period, and so that's why it sort of it fell under the radar a little bit. But
it was actually, if anyone remembers the old true crime games, it was meant to be one of those, but then it got dropped and picked up again, and Squeenix actually turned it into a decent game. So
shock horror.
Yeah,
True Crime Streets of LA is a classic.
LA was awesome. The rest, not so much.
I mean, only in that game can I frisk old people and crackheads and have funny stuff to say.
Can't go
Back
wrong.
of the heater holding dope.
That needs to be quoted. Someone get on that.
Yes.
I'm just an old lady for crying out loud.
God.
Like, come on.
Bent cop. See how it is. The second you have a chance to, bend the law, break the rules.
It's confirmed Stemor wants to frisk old ladies.
Yeah. Right. There you go. That's what we can learn from this week.
Yeah.
Is there any other games before we move on? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No. So it's time for the best segment ever invented.
Of course.
It's time for the nerd list.
Yes, nerd list.
Because it's a new thing, all of our guests are so far unsuspecting, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Do you want to explain?
Right, basically, Mr. Stemor, your mission, if you choose to accept it, but you have no choice, is you have 2 minutes to answer general knowledge video game questions. And then your score will be put into the list of what we have compiled so far, and we can rank
It's a
you
prestigious
all
list of 3 people so far.
It is a prestigious list of 3 people. I will say to you that you don't have much to beat when it comes to me and Lim. So...
No, we haven't set the bar particularly high, to be honest.
The bar is not high.
No. Would you like to know the scores of everyone else so far?
I already saw them.
You've seen them?
Okay.
Them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you are aware of our failure. But at least I beat Lim, so I don't care.
Yeah, through a fucking technicality.
Yeah.
These are all like really old game questions. I'm probably not going to get any of them.
Well, it's a combination of all kind of things. Right, just 2 seconds while I load up the timer.
Okay.
Timer. So the timer starts at the end of the first question, and if when the timer runs out, he's in the middle of asking you a question, you will have time to finish that and answer that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So. Ready when you are.
Stemor, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. First question. And also, chat if you want to answer and show your nerd knowledge, feel free, because the latency won't help Stemor at all.
No, you can wait for chat to catch up if you're watching on Twitch, but, I mean, you'll probably only
lose
get
a ton of time if I do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. First question. What slimy video game has bad guys named Professor Monkey for a head, Evil the Cat from Heck, and Bob the Killer Goldfish?
I have no clue.
Okay. Which company developed Populous, Syndicate, and Theme Park?
I know this too. It's bugging me. Skip, I don't remember.
What was the first game to require the use of both analog sticks on the DualShock controller?
I don't know that one either. Damn.
Okay. What's the name of Jimmy's school in the game Bully?
Don't know it. Never played it.
Which Xbox 360 Square Enix RPG features the protagonist Rush Sykes?
No idea.
What is the name of Johnny's biker gang in the GTA story The Lost and Damned?
Don't know, didn't play it.
Okay. What Game Boy-based TV show had an episode that caused seizures in Japan?
The only thing I can think of is Pokemon, so...
Correct.
Yay!
What Sega game might 2 aliens need to boom, clap, boom, boom, clap?
I don't know.
Alien Isolation.
In what Sega game might you want to make some crazy money?
I don't know.
Okay. What is the name of the psychotic assassin droid in the Knights of the Old Republic series?
HK-47.
Yep. What is the disease killing the Drell companion Thane in Mass Effect?
Keprol syndrome.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
What is the name of Drake's main love interest in the Uncharted series?
Ah, oh, damn it. Skip, I don't remember.
What is the name of the first video game based on the Matrix movies?
Was it called?
This is your last question, so have a think, because your time's now up. So
was
have
it
a
called
think.
Enter the Matrix?
Enter the Matrix. You scored 4 points.
Yes, you are tied first.
Tied for first.
So do you want to go over the ones that were skipped?
Yep, the slimy video game that had bad guys Professor Monkey for a head, Evil the Cat from Heck, and Bob the Killer Goldfish was Earthworm Jim.
Oh, fuck.
Yep,
Okay, can I have a guess at some of these as we go?
What, the company that developed Populous, Syndicate, and Theme Park?
Was that Bullfrog?
Yep.
It was, okay.
See, that one I was like, I knew it and couldn't remember.
The first game to require the use of both analog sticks on the DualShock.
Was that Metal Gear Solid?
No, it was Ape Escape.
Oh, was it?
Yep. The name of Jimmy's school in Bully?
Oh, it was Saint something, but I don't know that one.
No, it wasn't. It was Bullworth Academy.
I knew that.
The 360 Square Enix RPG with Rush Sykes as the protagonist.
Was that Lost Odyssey?
That was The Last Remnant.
Ah, the other one.
The name of Johnny's biker gang in The Lost and the Damned.
Was it The Lost?
Yes.
Yeah. Thought so. I thought that was like a trick question.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, I don't know. It feels like
you got Pokemon called Seizures to Kids, which was lovely. Sega game, the Sega game that two aliens need to boom clap, boom boom clap.
No.
No, Toe Jam and L2 Panic on Funkatron.
Just quickly, did you know they're kickstarting another one?
Another what? Another Toe Jam and L? Yeah, I'd heard. Trust me, I heard. the Sega game where you might make crazy money.
Fuck. No. Don't
Crazy Taxi.
Oh.
Yeah. You got HK47. You got Keppel Syndrome.
I can't believe you got that. That's crazy.
Yeah, you ask me any Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, or Mass Effect question, I'm probably going to get it.
Yeah. Drake's main love interest in Uncharted.
Elena.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it in chat, I was like, ah!
Yeah, I'm not looking at chat. Right. Because I want to try and get some of these. Is that all of them, was it?
That was all of them.
So, congratulations, you are tied with Nina Lee for first place.
Yeah.
I'm still last, and Martin is still, well, second, joint second.
Well, I'm better than you, so I don't care.
Yeah, but my overall theory was if I get a really low score, then surely none of our guests will get lower than me, so they'll feel good about themselves.
That's your excuse you're using now because you sucked so hard.
I was first and it was very stressful. So we've agreed on episode 50, if we ever get that far, we both get a do-over.
Yeah, we'll go again.
We both get a do-over if we ever make
every
it that far.
50 episodes.
Yeah, well,
you guys will do it again.
Only if we're not first, I guess. Keep going until we win.
First, are we?
No.
Because we're already losing.
Yeah, quite horrendously.
Yeah.
So, yes, the Nerd List, the best segment ever created for a podcast.
Yay.
And now, the news. We should have a jingle.
Woo!
We should have a jingle for that. So, what topic are we doing first? I've forgotten. The Division.
Very
the Division.
Professional.
Shut your face. Division. Do you want to cover the Division?
I want to cover the Division?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Go.
Basically, in a wonderful dickish move that no company should ever bloody do, there are not going to be any review copies of the Division sent out to anybody. Everybody's going to get it on launch day, which basically, if history serves, means that they're not confident about the game. Pretty much. They're claiming that the reason they're doing it is because people won't get a full experience of the game without people online. But
isn't that what the betas were for? The open beta?
Exactly.
Where, how many was it? Was it like 6 million people played that or something? Like
exactly.
Some huge number of, to make sure that people can get on the servers and there won't be issues?
Basically what they're doing, the only reason any company ever really does this is because they want everybody to buy it based on hype. Yeah. Pretty much. They don't want any reviews out saying, oh well, it could be better here, could be better there, and putting it off.
So if they think that game's going to be like a 6 out of 10, and then people think, oh, I'm not going to buy it now because, like, say the game's got no end game content, or it's like really short, or
which it probably doesn't have it.
Yeah, this is what this meat, like the whole story sort of reeks of to me, is that the game has no content at all.
Yeah, they're not confident with it. So yeah, they're basically being dicks and saying no one can play it unless you pay us for it. So
yeah, we're not getting any reviews until probably a few days after launch, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, which is a really, really dick move, because that's the other thing, is that it's not just stopping reviews early, it's stopping them until well after the game's launch.
Because most
is crap for the consumer.
Yeah, because most reviewers take like a couple of weeks to write a review, like good reviewers, I should say. Like they'll spend a couple of weeks so that they beat the campaign. Especially with these sort of games, which are supposed to be like MMO style games, where you want to see what kind of end game content they've got, the PvP, and what staying power it's got. You're gonna have to spend quite a lot of hours on it. So we're not gonna I don't think. Well, we'll get some reviews on launch because some people will just be itching to get be first. But like the reviews you're going to be able to trust.
You'll get a lot of first impressions. That's what you'll get.
That's like a lot of these places like IGN I've noticed especially have done it a lot recently. They do like reviews in progress and stuff like that, where we say this is what we think, but we're not giving it a score yet, kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll update it as it goes.
Yeah. It's just it's just a shitty move because the game clearly isn't going to be as good as people would like to think it's going to be.
No, because if they were confident in their product, they would just do what everybody else does and give out review copies.
Yeah, be throwing copies at the big streamers and the YouTubers. Get it in the hands of get it in the hands of the critics and everything.
It's just yet again a company. They think that the consumers are stupid and won't realise that this is the reason they're doing it. And
it's not like it's the first time it's happened, is it?
No, it's the big problem with the games industry is that they treat the customers as if they're idiots constantly.
Yeah.
In many different things. So.
But now in the age of the internet and where people actually listen to people like, well, probably not us specifically, but like YouTubers and streamers and people who do these sort of gaming podcasts and stuff, like they trust their opinions. So when they get informed of shit like this, I think even just having stories like this is going to hurt the sales for it, I think.
Yeah, it's to be fair, The Division, when it first showed at E3, I thought, oh my god, that looks amazing.
Yeah, but then you think that for every Ubisoft first reveal, like they have a habit of it, haven't they? Like the first Watch Dogs trailer,
Well, yeah, not since Watch Dogs, honestly. Yeah, it's the thing I liked about it is one, I've always been quite a fan of Tom Clancy games, but now they seem recently to be going in the shitter. But I always used to like all the Ghost Recons and all things like that, and it looked like a cool futuristic idea. But it's the fact that they come out and the beta was so bad from all reports, and the fact that it's basically modern day Destiny with no aliens. Because
I think that seems like the closest comparison, isn't it? It's third person Destiny.
Yeah, all the enemies are bullet spongy, so why the hell has it got a Tom Clancy name on it when Tom Clancy's supposed to mean realism?
Yeah, to an extent, but yeah.
To an extent, yeah. But it's a loot game. It's a loot game, and that's not what it looked like. So
like I can't remember what episode it was, episode 2 or 3 or whenever it was, when I talked about the beta. I was not even remotely impressed with it. Like,
no,
nothing about that game impressed me. I've seen it. Every mechanic in that game has been done better elsewhere. Like,
see, I know people. I've spoke to people who work in the game near me, and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait till it comes out. I'm going to play the hell out of it." And it's like, well, what is they? But they can't vocalize what about it is making them excited. They're just like, oh, I just really want it. And it's like,
yeah, but it's the new shiny thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And
because you see posters for it everywhere, and they've got trailers on the on whatever gaming website you go on, and freaking they've even got TV spots for it and stuff. Like, it's the new cool shiny thing, so we must play it and we must try and convince ourselves it's good. Are you planning on playing it, Stemor? Like, is it something you're interested in?
I was initially interested in it when it was first announced.
Yeah.
And then became sort of slightly less interested over time because I'm sure you know me pretty well, Lem. I don't really get hyped for games.
No.
I wait until if I see a trailer for it, I go, oh, okay, yeah, that's a game that I'm gonna keep on my radar and check it out later when it's actually close to launch, and wait for pre-release reviews or first impressions and things like that before I decide to buy.
This is the point.
And obviously with this game can't really do that.
Exactly. You can't go and see the people you trust play it and get their opinions or nothing.
I think the problem here is twofold. I don't think that and this is going to be very weird coming from me because usually I don't give Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt, but I think in this case, when they're saying that they aren't releasing review codes for Division before launch day, I think that maybe there is a legitimate concern there from them that reviewers' opinions of the game will be colored if they're waiting for queues or not being able to play with anyone.
Yeah.
And they're playing by themselves for long periods of time, because it's really not the same game if you're playing by yourself.
No, it's designed to be party play. Like, I played the beta by myself and it was boring as hell. Like, you need to be on it with friends, I think.
So I think in this case, I've never done it, but I'm going to give Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt and say their excuse for not releasing these codes is probably pretty valid. But on the other hand, I think if anyone who's played the beta thinks that there's going to be more to the game, or people who played the beta and were like, oh, well, I hope the released version is better,
It's
that
not
was
good.
a demo you played.
Yeah,
that was not a beta you played.
No, exactly. What you saw is what you're getting in that game. Like the gap, like the realism of how much development can be done in the space of So that beta was like a month ago, wasn't it? So the game had already gone gold by that point, I think. So they're not going to make any more content for that game at that point. They'll be working on the day one patch at that point. Like, as I was been speaking to Andy about the process of timelines for content creation and stuff, and it's when a game goes gold and goes off to certification, at that point they're working on day one patch. Like, any bugs that they'd get through certification, but they wanted to work, that's what they're working on. And if they're doing betas and things like this to stress test servers, they're not working on adding extra content for the game. They're working on just patches and shit like that. So any content creation they're working on will be for their season pass stuff, like their paid DLC. I don't know, haven't really looked into it, because I say I'm not going to get this, but I don't know if they're doing free DLC and paid DLC or how they're doing it. But if they're working on content, it won't be stuff that's in the base game at this point. So anyone who thinks that a month, a beta a month before launch of a game is actually a beta is lying to themselves. That game's been done for at least a couple months. Yep. And now it's down to bug fixes, any little tweaks. The beta itself was basically just a stress test of servers. Yeah. Someone in chat brings up a good point. Like, there was a lot of problems with hacking as well, especially on the PC version. People had already got round, especially what was it called, the Dark Zone, right? The PvP area. People were hacking in that and stuff. So. That's really the only good way to test that, is to release it to the most number of people possible instead of continually doing internal testing and see what you can break. Exactly. Let's put it out there for everyone to try it. And let the 12-year-old nerds try and break it for us, basically. So, I don't it's a decision that I can understand, but at the same time, I think it's also a mask to cover up the likely lack of content for Division. Even said, pretty much what you saw in beta is probably what you're going to get. There's not much more to it. I
just played, on a bigger map.
Yeah, I played 2 missions in that beta and I was already bored of it. It was already rinse and repeat cover shooting mechanics. There was no variety in what you were doing at all. You can already tell that even if there is a lot of content, as in there's a lot of missions, it's all going to be very much copy and paste missions of, here's a dude with a randomly generated name. Go kill that man. Oh wait, he's going to send a bunch of dudes towards you first. You have to, you have to work your way through. I'll just be copy and paste of that. It's not going to be interesting variety of content.
That's another thing that I feel personally is a big problem with the game, is that cover-based shooting has been done to death now. Yeah. So it isn't it's not a very interesting gameplay mechanic as it is. And then
you have to do something pretty special with it.
And then to have bullet spongy enemies as well, so that you're stuck in you're not making any progress until you've slowly chipped their health bars down. It's
just
even more boring.
Yeah, just no.
I just pointed out in chat to someone is that you shouldn't be able in a you shouldn't be able to shoot someone in the head multiple times with real world weapons like an AK-47 and they're still fighting back. Like
No.
it breaks all immersion
That's
because
such an MMO thing, that, isn't it?
yeah, bullet sponging is one of my most hated things in games because it's just increasing the difficulty in a really boring way.
Yeah, like if they've got like a shield, like if this is sort of like a sci-fi shooter, 2 headshots, 1 to get rid of their shield, 1 to kill them. That is acceptable, but any more than that is stupid.
Yeah,
like I get it if they've
fire half a clip into someone's face and they're still firing back at you, then that's
that game's fucked.
boring.
Yeah, correct. But yeah, I think that's enough talk of the Division because I'm sure we'll talk about it a bit more once it's out, like because it comes out this week, and I'm sure like once we do get some early impressions and stuff, filtering out through the week and that, and I'm pretty sure I guess next week Live Games TV and else, I'm pretty sure he's picking it up, so it'll be interesting to get his opinion of it. So
I'll put out my prediction here that it's gonna get solid sort of mid-range ratings.
I think I'll be 6s and 7s.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, well,
Couple
it's
of 8s
alright,
maybe.
but nothing amazing.
No, they're hoping for 9s, and they'll be 6s and 7s. They'll get from like the respected critics anyway. I'm sure there'll be a few backhanded like 8 and 9s.
Yeah, the
payoffs.
The payoffs will give it a good one.
Yeah. Shall we move on from that?
Yes.
Right. There was one sort of thing I wanted to cover at some point. I might actually wrap that up at the end. Actually, like, there was a Nintendo Direct this week, and there was quite a few like announcements. But I think I'll do that at the end of the news. I'll just quickly run through those because there's some cool news. But so the next thing is they've announced the latest updates for PS4 and Xbox One. The latest software iterations, so announcing the new features. So do you want to do PS4 and I'll do Xbox?
The PS4 update will allow you to play your games on a Windows PC or Mac. So streaming, basically. Why you'd really want to do that? Well, I'll never use it. I know I won't.
There's only such like one specific instance I can think of where that would be useful to anybody, and that's if your PS4 is for the it's like a family used console. It's in your living room, hooked up to your sound system and whatever. Your kids are watching telly or whatever, and you go in a different room to go on your PC to play your PS4 because your girlfriend or whatever's watching some crap on telly, so you leave the room to play PC to play it for you. But if that was the case, I don't know why you wouldn't take your console with you. But if it's all hooked up to this big system or whatever, then fine. But that's that's the only thing I can imagine.
Yeah, to be polite, so you're not taking up the only TV. But with the ability to watch like streaming things on basically every device possible nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch telly at all.
Most people
just
don't. These days, to be fair.
Yeah.
But like I say, I can't think of any other instance where that would be used, to be perfectly honest. Like, Xbox has had it for a while now. And the first day it was a thing, I tried it out. I was like, oh, that's cool. I can play UFC from the other room in here. Wow. And then never touched it again. Like
the only other instance I can possibly think is if your computer chair is a million times more comfortable than whatever chair you've got in front of the in front of your telly in the main room. Like, just a comfort reason. That's it.
Yeah, like it's no of interest. Other than that, it's all just minor stuff like friends notifications, and there's a couple of little bits appearing offline and that, but the big thing is the streaming your console. That's it. Like, there's nothing nothing major. But in terms of the Xbox One update, you can now buy 360 games directly off the Xbox One store. Before, you had to go through this really fucking backward process of going through the Xbox website and syncing up your console and all this other crap. Don't have to do that anymore because 360 games are backwards compatible. Not all of them, but like they're slowly adding more each month and stuff. But like the ones that are free with Xbox Games with Gold, you can download those straight off the store now. So they've streamed like that, which is cool. They've added party chat for streaming, so people who are listening to this or watching on Twitch or whatever, like who are interested in the streaming side of things, that's actually a really cool feature. That's always been a problem for the guys who, you know, they don't stream off their PC, they stream directly off their Xboxes. Like they can't, if they're playing, I don't know, like Smite or something with their mates, they can't feature party chat in their streams, and that's always been a really fucking stupid thing. But you can now, so that's nice. So that's a thing. Like there's some more settings for their recording. You can change like recording length. So again, for people who make like YouTube videos and stuff, they can record longer clips, stuff like that. But again, that's all sort of small stuff. The main thing is the 360 backwards compatibility stuff and being able to put party chat in streams for Twitch. That's the main stuff. Like again, nothing major for both of them. No. So yeah, that's the public service announcement for consoles. All very exciting, but still better than PC, right, Stemor?
Oh yeah, yeah. 'Cause when I think of, you know, streaming between devices, I think I want to stream 900p 30 FPS to my PC.
Why would you not?
That's exactly what I think of. I want it to be the other way around, actually, and I think it's a dumb thing.
Well, isn't that what the Steam Link box? Isn't that what that is?
But isn't 30 FPS more cinematic though?
No,
no, 15.
12 FPS is the best. It's the most cinematic of all.
Exactly, everyone knows that. God.
Yeah, I think the other way around is actually better, because I think more people would probably have, if they're one of those people that's like, you know, owns a pretty decent PC and probably has one or both of the consoles in their living room. You know, maybe they're thinking, oh, I want to play this game, but I don't really want to sit at my desk and play. If they're not one of those people that has, like, you know, the Couch Master and stuff, you know, they play their PC games directly on their, you know, flat screen TV in their living room. And they're like, I don't really want to sit at my desk and play this game. I'd rather kick back with a controller or something. It makes a lot more sense for somebody to be able to stream their PC games to a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Isn't that what the Steam
than
Link?
The other way around.
That's what the Steam Link box is, isn't it? Though.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's another thing you have to buy. Like, if you've got like one of the consoles and a PC, and both, you know, your PC is very capable of gaming, you're probably not gonna buy, like, if you had the option, you probably weren't gonna buy a Steam Link. It's really the only option right now.
But then, can you see Steam like partnering up with one of the two major, you know, major consoles? Because like Microsoft are now trying to push their own game store, which we'll get into on our topic of the week this week. But like they're trying to push their own shit. So the chances of Steam having their own thing on Xbox One would never happen.
It's
would it?
far more likely that they would partner with Sony, because they've done that in the past. I mean,
yeah, with Portal 2.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That's probably the most notable example, and this was after, you know, Gabe said the PS3 was basically a turd.
Yeah.
It's probably more likely that they would partner with Sony than Microsoft, because, you know, a bunch of different reasons we're gonna get into later, and yeah. It would be better if it was PC to PlayStation 4, not the other way around. It doesn't make any sense to me.
But then, like, the Steam is a direct competitor to PS4 store in that case as well, though, isn't it? Because, like, if you had... Because, like, if you wanted to buy, say, Just Cause 3, it's cheaper to buy it on Steam than it is to buy it on the PS4 digital store. So you wouldn't buy it on the PS4 store, you'd buy it on the Steam store if you had the option of the two, wouldn't you?
No, I think if somebody had a gaming capable PC and they had a PS4 and they were deciding on what platform they were going to buy something that was multi-plat, they're probably going to go with the PC. Like, probably 9 times out of 10.
If your PC can run it, then definitely.
Yeah, they're going to go for that one, because anyone who owns a very gaming-capable PC is not going to, like, sacrifice their experience by playing something at probably a lower resolution, lower frame rate. They're the kind of person that's like, well, I want to play this at whatever resolution that I can push out and however many FPS I can push out. And I want all the things turned up if I can.
All the things!
Although I would point out that Steam doesn't have trophies, and as a self-confessed trophy whore, I need them trophies.
They do have achievements. Steam has
They're
achievements.
Not as good. They're not as shiny
well, no one
as
really
trophies.
Cares.
I care.
See, I went through that phase too, where I was like a total achievement whore
really?
on Xbox, and then
what's the most embarrassing game you ever thousanded?
It was like Terminator Salvation.
Oh my god, I had that as well.
It was such a crappy game.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say is my most embarrassing one as well.
I specifically rented it or bought it pre-owned for like $1. Oh no, I had GameFly, so I did rent it. Okay,
yeah.
So I had GameFly at the time, and I rented it specifically because I heard it was easy to get.
Super
score on.
Did you do Dark Void as well? That was the other one that was super easy.
No, I hadn't gotten to that one.
That's equally as bad but simple.
Dark
as like.
Void was that weird jetpack game.
Yeah, and you went to the Bermuda Triangle, and it was sort of World War One, and Hitler was making tanks in the Bermuda Triangle because that makes sense. And
wait, why was Hitler involved in World War
this
One?
was it was set just after World War One, like gearing up for World War Two. The story didn't make sense. The story doesn't make sense at all.
The game didn't make sense, but flying around in a jetpack was kind of fun for the first hour.
That's all that really matters.
But yeah, I just that was that. I was never as bad as doing the Hannah Montana game, because that's the easiest game to platinum on PlayStation 3. It takes 20 minutes, and if you're a proper trophy whore, you'll have that in your collection of platinums. I'm not that bad.
No,
luckily.
You know full well you've considered it. And
I'm not going to lie. I haven't. I've considered doing it, but I wouldn't lie, because once you do it, there's no going back. That's a Matrix rabbit hole thing. Like, once you do that, that's it. So, yeah, I'm not that bad.
I will admit I have never been an achievement chaser or a trophy whore or anything like that. I like the ones I get, and if I don't get them all, I don't really give a squit, because it's just I've never seen the appeal of going, I must get all of them in this game. It's like, why?
That's a OCD completionist thing, I think. Especially my biggest.
Sorry, if you got something out of it, I'd understand it. If they put in a system in place where, like, say, if you hit this, because they level as well on the PS4, didn't you? I don't know if you did on the. If you get to like level 20, we'll give you a 5% discount code for the PlayStation Store. If they did something like that, then maybe
skins in game, or a car for a racing game or something like that.
If there was actually anything to earn by doing it, I'd enjoy it. But
it's just a sense of satisfaction. That's all you get. But like, I was bad, like, as you know, favorite game of all time, Oblivion. I got 1,000 on that, and I got all the achievements for the DLCs as well. But like, in that, to get all the achievements, you have to complete every different faction. So like the Thieves Guild, Fighters Guild, blah blah blah. But I'd done all of them, and my last one I had to do was the Thieves Guild, and I was about 150 hours into the game at this point. Last thing I had to do was the Thieves Guild. And anyone who's played this might remember that to get into the Thieves Guild, you have to do an initiation mission where you have to race against this other character to steal some random thing from someone's house, and the thing glitched. And she beat me to the thing, but then the character disappeared. So like, there was no ability for me to steal it back from her, because like, that's supposed to be the thing. If she gets there first, you can steal it back from her on the way back. But she glitched out of the map and disappeared. She wasn't a thing anymore. So I had to go, and I was so like invested in it helped that it was my favourite game ever. But like, I went back and did all of the game again, to do that again to get the achievements for it. So like, the first guild I did was that.
By
like,
professional. Like that's dedication to a game, really.
Yeah, but like I like obviously you can do all of the guilds and stuff in any order, and I went straight to that was the first thing I did. So I put about 10 hours in before I could get to doing those missions again. But
yeah,
after that I then did every other guild and the DLC or all again with another character, all of the arena, everything. Like,
well, I don't know.
My dedication.
Bethesda games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from Fallout 4, which is a big old pile of wank.
Which is a big pile of crap.
Yeah.
It's an RPG. Oh yeah, it's not really role playing, but whatever.
It's just the stupidest thing ever. I just no. We're not going to go into this all over again because.
Isn't it also, if you were trophy hunting, isn't it also impossible to get all of them in Fallout 4 because you can't do all the faction missions?
Well, you'd have to do multiple playthroughs, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And some games you can't platinum anymore because the bane of my life is fucking online achievements. Just the bane of my life because like when you get EA and they shut down their servers for their games about 3 weeks after they're released. So, like, you can't platinum this anymore. It's like, well, fuck you then. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Sidetracked a bit. What have we got next? A new thing that's going to fail spectacularly. Have you read into this demo, Utomic?
Yeah,
and
actually I have to slightly disagree with you.
You think it's going to be successful?
I don't think it'll be successful per se, but it'll be a hell of a lot more successful than things that have come before it.
Right, and why do you want
to tell what people it is then? What
so
Utomic
is a startup that's it's a game streaming platform. They're calling themselves the Netflix of games, and it's a service similar to OnLive, if you guys ever heard of that, which it cratered spectacularly. And Gaikai before Sony bought them. So,
but isn't the difference? Wasn't OnLive a console, and this is like an app? Like you don't need any hardware for this, do you? I don't believe.
For Utomic, it's PC, so you actually have a decent PC.
Yeah, but like with OnLive, you had to buy like the OnLive console.
Yeah, OnLive was an app, and like the games weren't. This was the issue with it, was that it's the game is streamed to you via video stream, and what it takes your inputs and sends it back over the net. And it works a lot like Steam and home streaming or any of those like remote play kind of things, where you're basically, if you've got another screen, it sends a video stream to you and then takes any inputs and sends them back. And in like the local remote play sense, the latency is usually decent. In this case, you couldn't play, Counter-Strike or something like that.
No, you're a slave to your internet quality, aren't you?
Yeah, you're limited to like single player games or like multiplayer games that don't require a lot of precision.
Like an RTS maybe. Or you could get away with.
Yeah, it would have to be like you could get away with like Civ because it's like turn-based strategy.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't do StarCraft on it like that. You would basically lose every game. The thing that was majorly wrong with OnLive was that it burned up people's caps, their data caps in the US.
Yes, that was back when the internet was quite weak, especially over here. Like most of the internet plans were still limited by like 20 gig download or something. Like we didn't really have like unlimited plans over here yet.
Yeah, and if you had any issues with your internet, or you had sort of any kind of inconsistent packet transmission between yourself and the service, you had a really bad experience gaming. So that's why it kind of died very quickly. I don't remember exactly what Gaikai did differently, if anything, but Sony bought them up, and they're using it for
that PlayStation Now thing, aren't they?
They use that for remote play and now. So I guess they just kind of took the technology that they already had and just applied it to more local streaming stuff. The difference with this platform is that it doesn't send you a video stream like on live or anything like that. It actually downloads chunks of the game as you play.
There's always just a little bit ahead of where you are, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's you still need. It's not being run. I hate the term, but it's not being run on the cloud, where it's actually being rendered and processed. Like there's a a computer that's playing the game for you basically and sending you the video stream. It's your computer is actually the one doing all of the processing, because it's sending you bits of the game at a time, and the reason why I disagree that it's gonna it's not gonna fail as hard as something like OnLive is because of that. It's not gonna burn through data caps as much, probably.
True,
because it's a constant video stream coming at you.
I don't think it's the way it works is its issue. I think the issue is one that no one's heard of it. Like, obviously, like the whole all-you-can-eat thing is great, but the issue is, and it's the same issue I had with OnLive, is that the games aren't recent. You can't pay for your subscription and have the latest games. You're going to be playing games that you've already played 3 or 4 years ago, and I think that, like, obviously they can't. As a small upstart company, of course they're not going to be able to have, like, they're not going to have the Division on it next week or whatever, like, because they won't. But I think that people are just going to see it and say, oh, we can play Deus Ex, like the one that came out 5-6 years ago, or we can play Dishonored. Okay, already played those. Like, I don't see like what their service is going to offer that's going to interest me. It's the same problem I've got with PlayStation Now. Like, I was part of the beta for that. Like, I had the free. I was part of the guys who had it for free and could try all the service out and stuff. And the problem was, like, the service worked just fine. And the issue with it is that the games are all games that if you had any interest in them, you've already played them. Like, they're old games. Like, you might find the one game that you say, oh, I always fancied playing that but never got round to it. But that's not going to be enough there to say, oh, I'm going to pay £5 every single month for. I mean, PlayStation Now is really expensive, like, anyway, so that's a whole nother thing. But like with this, it's over here it's £4.49, so it's a little bit cheaper than Netflix. But like, I don't think they've got relevant enough games like to warrant people keeping a subscription. They might get one, might say, all right, I'll subscribe for 1 month to play this one game, and within a month you can probably beat pretty much anything that you fancy playing.
No,
and then
but
be done.
The thing is, if it gets popular, then they can use that as collateral to get more recent games.
True, but that is a catch-22 with it, I think. But like, if you don't already start with a strong lineup of games, people aren't going to be interested in the first place, are they? That's the problem. Like, it is a problem. Like, if you haven't got the money to buy the big games, you can't offer it, and then people won't pay for it, so you won't get the money you need to get those games. Like. That's why I think it's never gonna be anything big, and that's I'm sure like obviously I haven't tried it, but I'm sure the service works just fine, providing you've got half decent internet and not data capped and stuff. I'm sure it works great, but
I'd like to take the opposite view of what you just said, which is, oh well, if I was interested in this game, I would have already played it. There's a lot of people that maybe they didn't have the money for that game at the time, or maybe it wasn't interesting to them until they saw it on the service and went, oh, that game is pretty cool, maybe I'll finally check it out. And for those people, or those people that do you think that's a
big market though? Do you think that opinion is the opinion of a big chunk of the potential audience? Because you're bearing in mind that the people who are going to be outplayed is, like you said, people with half decent gaming PCs with half decent internet, so they're fairly invested in gaming in general, right? That's not just your average guy who's got like a PS4 and plays FIFA every year and that's it. They're people who are invested in gaming. So
if you look at it from, even if you got, let's say, like half of the games that are on this service because they're saying like they got like 600 games set to join, and you try to buy all of those.
Just
games
having a quick look for a list. I can't see one here.
Yeah, they don't have the full list, but let's say that you were trying to pick up all those games. Let's say you wanted to pick up all those games on Steam, even on a sale. You wouldn't be able to really beat the price of a monthly subscription. Probably you would probably be paying for a few months if you really, blew through all those games. And I think that's probably a tremendous value for people that are like, wow, there's all these games. Once they have a full list, there's all these games that I never got around to playing. I'll pay, like $8, $12 or whatever for a few months to get through this. I'll burn through all these games, and maybe I'll keep the service if there's other games that come up, because like you said, maybe they'll get newer games on there because
well, I think if they can
like that,
I think if they can bolster their library, then they stand a good chance, and if they promote it, correctly, like if they get it, get the average consumer to be aware of the service, then I think I'll be well. Because I'm just looking on the homepage of the website, and like, what they're advertising that they have is the original Darksiders, Titan Quest Gold, which is terrible, Overlord, which is good, but again, it's like quite an old game, isn't it?
Controls aren't as good as the second one.
Evoland, King Arthur 2, Majesty 2, Sanctuary RPG, Unwritten Tales. So there's a bunch of games, like quite a few of those I'm unfamiliar with, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. But like the ones that I'm aware of are either old or not very good. Like, I know King Arthur 2, I think that was quite a popular strategy game for its time, wasn't it? Like, if it's the game I'm thinking of, sort of like a Civ style medieval strategy game.
Yeah.
From what I think it is. So, yeah, I think it's. You can say that it's got 600 games, but if it's not, they're not good games.
Yeah, I'm not saying it will be successful because of these things. I'm just saying it'll be less likely to fail.
Yeah, I'd like to see something like this work, because like because that's why I think things like Humble Bundle and stuff like that has done so well, is because a lot of gamers can't afford to go out and spend 45 quid on Far Cry or whatever. They just they see Humble Bundle, there's like say 2 really good games and then a few games they probably haven't heard of for like 5 quid that they can pick up, and then that's them sorted for the next few weeks. And I think a service like this, which is cheap, where if the content is there, which it doesn't seem like it is, but if they build on it and it does is there, well, I think this is good for like a cash strapped gamer.
Yeah. I like that you brought up the Humble subscription, because that's a tremendous value for the games that you get. Like, looking back at past months that they've had.
You sub to
stuff like
Humble
Alien
Monthly,
Isolation, and like 2 other games that are actually like kind of big titles in like a $12 a month subscription.
Are you sub to Humble Monthly?
No.
So, because I've subbed to that, and like I've had some fantastic games through that. Like I said, Alien Isolation. There was Ark is this month's big game. There's what was last month? Brain's gone done a fart. But there's been loads. There's been some like really rather big games through that, and it's like you said, it's like £8-9 a month, something like that. So really good.
It's
really
$12 US dollars.
Yeah, Titan Souls. That was another one. I think that was last month. Some like pretty big games. So
yeah.
See, I don't know whether this is gonna get big or whatever, but I would like to see services of this type come out, because anything that is an alternative to Steam can only be a good thing, because we need
you don't
more
want them
things
to monopolise it.
No, we need more things to make Steam pull their heads out their asses and actually provide a better service, to be honest.
To counter that, everything that has ever released on early access is good. So, what could they possibly need to improve? Have you not seen the trailer for Chair Simulator? It looks fucking amazing. Because there's a chair, and it's amazing.
Oh, there was also what was it? Bonfire Simulator,
really?
Which was just a bonfire. Is on green light at the moment.
But memes.
Yeah, them dank memes. It's.
How much
just,
do you know? How much they were charging for that? Just have interest. Oh, I don't know. Do you know how much they were charging?
What, for the bonfire
Yeah.
one? It was on. It's got a trailer on Steam Greenlight at the minute to be greenlit, so they haven't put a price.
No, it's not actually.
No, it's
get
on.
approved.
I saw it on the best of Greenlight things Jim Sterling does.
Yeah.
The snarky best of Greenlight.
Yeah. Oh, there's just so many. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, there really does need to be, and there's just more like options for gaming for people with not a lot of money is only a good thing. If it fails, it fails. But it's nice to see someone try, I suppose.
Yeah.
At the end of it.
They just, it is right now. It is a problem of they need to provide that level of value that really entices you to pay that subscription for whatever games that they have on there. I don't know how they're gonna do that, but it needs to be done.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but like especially the last couple of Steam sales, like I don't think the deals have been that great. Like the savings haven't been that massive. So I'd like for people with like say, for I've saved up, I've got 20 quid to buy some games for in the Christmas sale. I didn't think there was a huge amount of like good value deals. Like compared to what you can get now from things like Bundle Stars, Humble Bundle, and places like that, I don't think there's that many like options at the minute. Well, to be honest,
I have a question for you. How big is your library on Steam?
I will have a look. Yeah, then it needs to be. I would like to point out that out of all of the games I do have, I've probably not. I played like a 10th of them.
Yeah.
I'm saying like when like you look at the front page now, even like games I own and that, I still don't think like obviously you get like the usual, you'll see Skyrim on sale for like cheap and stuff, but in general I like especially the last couple I've noticed, even games like I own, like they haven't been fantastic. I don't think 446.
Is that just?
You have a big.
Oh no, it's not. Yeah, because we've got combined and we 350 is mine.
Okay. So
350.
Not too much.
I can't.
My library.
I can't buy any more games now because the number's too nice. I'm gonna have to buy 50 games at once or none at all.
That weird. Because I've experienced that too, where it's like, oh, the sales aren't that good, and it's like, but we're kind of those people on Steam at that point that have bought like
all the good stuff,
all of the things, and it's like we look at a sale and we're like, oh, I'm not really excited anymore because like I bought all the shit that I wanted.
True.
Or you're, it just, some of the sales have been, at least for some of the newer games, have been a little bit less, which is understandable. But maybe that's just because in past we've sort of expected it to be a lower price. Yeah, now it's not as much the case anymore. Like,
why is everything not at 90%? That's what's annoying. Why is the Division not already at 90% discount?
Yeah, why can't they give them all at 99% off? Like,
I know.
We are
101%
off.
I mean, Temper Tantrum's on sale for 95% off at the minute for like 20 pence.
Even dare. Like,
that would make the best stream ever.
If anyone even gives that developer money, they need to be bloody neutered.
I'm just going to go request a key. Hang on.
You know who the developer of that is, don't you?
No, what is this?
It's the developer of that is Devolver Digital, who are a company that basically asset flip and
Digital Homicide.
Yeah, not Devolver Digital.
Oh, these guys.
Devolver are the good guys. They're the guys behind Hotline Miami and good
Digital
things.
Homicide. Yeah,
Digital Homicide are the shit.
Sorry, that was my cock out.
Yeah,
Unity flippers. Oh god.
Yeah. And Temper Tantrum, they claimed is one of their best games, and it's literally you're a kid smashing up a room with asset flip stuff in it.
You'll love it. It's just the best game ever. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know how we got onto that. Shall we move on?
Sure. I'm watching the video for this game.
Oh yeah, it looks amazing, right?
And it's got a sequel.
How much?
It's got a sequel.
Well, of course it has. It probably come out the next day, I would imagine.
Pretty much.
How much is out of curiosity? Like over there on your
99 cents.
fucking ass expensive.
Yeah, this is the kind of game that
you can get Steam refund though, so I feel like you should buy it and then just get a refund, just so you can say you've experienced the joy.
Buy it, frame it, and then send it back.
Yeah. So
the whole best part of this, like, digital, before we move on, digital homicide thing was the meltdown that the developer had, like, when Jim Sterling, like, called him out on his shit or whatever. It was like, this is a crappy game, and he just completely lost his shit.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever hear the interview he did with Jim Sterling? They did, like, a one-on-one interview.
No.
And
just look it up. It's on YouTube.
Look it up.
That's your homework. Seriously, you'd love it. It's
to make people look it up, the star point of that interview was when the developer claimed that Jim was purposely turning people against his company and that he had like an army ready to attack online. And his proof for that was a quote that Jim had once said as a joke, that he was breeding a race of parrot people to attack. And he said that...
But he actually is. So, that's legitimate.
Oh, yeah.
I love how I type Jim Sterling and the first things that come up are Slaughtering Grounds and Digital Homicide.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
It's his legacy, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, it's the only thing they're known for. Pretty much.
Pretty much. Right, let's move on. So, last story before we get into topic of the week is...
last?
Sorry?
What's our last one?
The thing that leads into the topic of the week. Like the Xbox things.
Oh, okay.
But like the last... Actually, no, I do want to go over Nintendo, but I'll just be super quick. But the Rock Band 4 is starting a crowdfunding campaign. They want the game to come out on PC, and I want the game to come out on PC as well, because
I want the game to come out on PC.
Yes, but the whole point of why it would be fucking awesome is all of the PS4 peripherals already work, and /PS3. So anyone who's already got all of the plastic controllers and stuff sitting around at home already works, and the whole point of it would be the Steam Workshop homebrew side of it, where you see it with like I play a lot of Rocksmith, which is a game where you plug in a real guitar and play along to songs. Like the community of that is phenomenal because people make their own like tab of the song of stuff that isn't already on the disc and upload it for free, and then you can download it. So like pretty much every song Metallica has ever done, you can download and play along to and stuff. And it would be the same for this if it ever came to PC. Like people would track anything and everything. Like you'd probably get the Final Fantasy theme and all this other random shit, like every album Tenacious D has ever done, all this stuff. Like you'd just get shit tons of music, like, and not just like, because the Rock Band 4 base game had like a handful of good songs, to be perfectly honest. It didn't have that many good tracks on it, whereas if it came out on PC there would be hundreds of thousands of phenomenal songs.
I've got to be honest, I now want this to happen more, because you've put the image in my head of you streaming, playing a plastic guitar whilst playing They Fucked Our Asses by Tenacious D. I would love that.
There's no reason for that to not happen.
Exactly.
So it's a thing that needs to happen. Anyone who's got a vague interest in like the sort of like rhythm games and stuff, it's a thing that needs to happen.
Yeah,
it's just it's a thing. They're doing a crowdfunding campaign for it, and I hope it succeeds.
How's it doing at the minute? How's the campaign going?
Let's see if I can find a link that leads to it, because I mean they've done a crowdfunding campaign before for Amplitude, and that just that smashed all of its targets.
I know in the first 2 days of it they got 200,000.
Where's it at now? It hasn't improved much.
Has it not?
It's just under 350,000.
Oh, that's not good.
With 30 days left.
It needs considerably more than that.
Yeah.
They want 1.5 million. Yeah.
Oh,
you know, realistically, it's not going to happen, is it? We're not going to see it.
Lim, go and whore yourself out to some Arab billionaire.
What for like 1 point? I can't math.
Yeah.
1.15 million to cover the rest of it.
Yeah, I think you could take one for the team.
Yeah, I would. If that was actually an option, I would. Absolutely. Because it needs to happen. That's how much I'd like to play Tenacious D on Rock Band on PC. So, yes. So, that's the thing. Go throw your money at them. So it becomes a thing.
If you have it spare.
Even if you don't, sell your house.
You shouldn't be promoting things like that, sir.
No, people are impressionable.
Yes.
We should only do that if they pay us money, which they haven't.
We have such influence over people that we've got to be careful what we say.
Yeah, we don't have endorsements, so don't buy anything. Ever. Obviously. Right, last thing. This week there was a Nintendo Direct announcing a bunch of new shit that's coming. Bunch of new stuff in Splatoon and Super Mario Maker, as to be expected. They've the guys who made Persona have announced a new RPG for Wii U, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Never heard of it, but it's a new thing. Lost Reavers, an online multiplayer zombie fight and a puzzle solving adventure from Bandai Namco. That comes out in April. There's a new Paper Mario game for Wii U called Color Splash. Looks adorable. Probably give that a try, to be honest.
Yeah,
there's a game called Pocket Card Jockey. It's horse racing with cards. Sort of got a bit of a Pokemon aesthetic for 3DS. Very strange looking.
I might look
very Japanese. Azure Striker Gunvolt 2 hits the 3DS eShop in the summer. It's a twin stick. Hyrule Warriors Legends comes out on 3DS March 25th. They announced a few new characters, bit of DLC.
What is that?
What's that?
What is the difference between that and... Oh, is that just the 3DS version?
Yeah, they've got a few exclusive characters. They announced some add-on content that's coming for Bravely Second End Layer, which is a turn-based strategy RPG that anyone who's played it seems to love. I've never played it, but
that's Bravely Default's sequel, isn't it?
Yeah, the first game did really well, so they're bringing out a new one. Dragon Quest VII is another Dragon Quest game that's more of the same from what I see. There was some new footage for Metroid Prime Federation Force. There's this online multiplayer thing. It doesn't look very good, to be perfectly honest. And a game called Rhythm Heaven Megamix, which is like a clues in the title. It's like an Osu type thing, like a tap along rhythm game. Was announced. There's some new footage for Star Fox Zero. That looks in a far better shape than it did at E3. Looks like they fixed the controls, and from everything I've seen, it looks like it handles considerably better. It's worth looking up a trailer if you're a Star Fox fan.
Yes, I am.
So that's something you can look into. Yeah, that's most of it. Like that was mainly trailers and stuff. There was no real big announcements other than the Paper Mario. I didn't play the one on Wii, but I've played some of the other ones and can't go wrong.
Yeah,
Mario are great.
They recently did that weird crossover with the Mario and Luigi RPGs.
Yeah, they did. Was that on 3DS? I think it was on 3DS, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a thing. I think that's it for that was just a quick wrap up of everything from that. Obviously there's no news on the NX. That'll be coming soon, but there was quite a big leak about NX features from a reputable source that leaked pretty much everything about Xbox One before Xbox One was announced, and 99% of it turned out to be true. But that's a topic for another day, I think. Like I wanted to break that out as a thing, because there's like loads of features and stuff we can talk about with that. So maybe do that as
you Nintendo tease.
Yeah, maybe do that as a topic of the week, like next week or something. But I think that's everything Nintendo-y for today. So shall we go on to the last story, which leads into topic of the week?
Feel free.
So basically, there's been like quite a lot going on with Microsoft over the last week. In regards to they're bringing some of their exclusive titles over to PC. So they're doing like I don't know what you call it, like a budget, like entry level version of Forza's coming out. They're talking about there's going to be Gears. I'm not sure which version. Is it Gears Ultimate Edition they're bringing? I think it's like the reboot of the first one. I think they're talking about bringing Halo Wars 2 over, and a bunch of stuff. And so I thought that'd be like a good time to talk about exclusive culture, whether exclusives are good for the consumers.
And the fact that there's been barely any exclusives this console generation that are any good.
The other big one was Quantum Break, wasn't it? That was announced as an Xbox One exclusive in order to try and push consoles, because that's the whole point of exclusives for consoles, is to try and get people to buy that box over a competitor. And then they knew from the start that it was going to be for PC as well, but they chose not to announce it until... When's that come out? I think it comes out in like May or something.
Not
quite
far,
soon. No, April, May, something like that. It comes out fairly soon. And,
so basically, the way I see the Quantum Break thing though is that it was coming out on a console I don't own, so I can't play it, and now it's coming out on a platform that I haven't got a good one of, so I won't be able to play it.
And to be fair, the game doesn't look that fantastic. To be fair,
I think it looks cool. From
the concept is good, but it's a cover shooter.
Yeah, but it's a cover shooter where you don't need to stay in cover because you can freeze fucking time.
True.
Yeah.
It looks like Microsoft's Order 1886.
Yeah. That's a good comparison.
I hope it isn't. Because it does, like you said, the concept's amazing. Just the fact that I've seen someone put a bubble of time around an enemy, fire 3 bullets, walk to the side, and then just watch them blast into the guy's face and things like that. It's the fact you can freeze bullets in the air, and like the concept, they've got so much they could do with it. If they do just distill it down to, it's a cover-based shooter with this gimmick, then that would be a bit...
Well, the thing is, it's in the hands of a good developer. They made like Alan Wake, which is one of my favourite games of the last generation. Like,
who's developing it?
Remedy.
Oh yeah.
So like they don't make bad games, but it doesn't mean that they never will. Like just because you've got a studio with good pedigree doesn't mean you won't fire out a dud. But
I think it looks good. Again, it'll be something that the test will be when the reviews come out and see how.
Yeah. So I thought we'd talk about exclusives, like because this generation in general we've not had a whole lot. The only one that's worthy of buying a PS4 for just off its own merit is Bloodborne. And I know that doesn't interest you, but like
it doesn't interest me, but I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, it's Bloodborne, a good game.
Yeah, and like to a lesser extent Until Dawn as well. But like I feel like exclusives are becoming less of a prevalent thing, like less and less, especially this generation. It's more moving towards exclusive content, like things like Call of Duty get the the DLC packs coming out a month earlier on PlayStation than they do on Xbox, and all this kind of nonsense.
The reason for that though is because of the increased cost of AAA development, which doesn't need to be as high as it is, but they believe it does. They want a hit as big an audience as possible, and if you're going to just go exclusively for one console, that company like Sony or Microsoft needs to pay a huge amount to make up for the amount of lost audience you're going to hit.
Yeah, lost revenue, because like say take No Man's Sky for example, that's coming to PS4 and PC, and Xbox One aren't getting it ever. That's never coming to Xbox One. So like the studio's going to want to estimate, let's say we think we're going to sell this many units of that game on Xbox One, so if you want this game just to be on your box, then we want this much money to cover what we think we'd lose in sales. So
But
it's not good for developers in general because like they're taking a gamble on how many copies they think they're selling it, and they might be selling themselves short of a lot of money. Because you take a game like Rocket League, which was fucking amazing, and that didn't come out on, you know, Xbox One. That's only literally just come out on Xbox One. If that came out on Xbox One at launch, when it was like, you know, there was that boom of everyone playing it,
popularity,
they would have made a lot more than whatever Sony paid them. You can guarantee it.
Just as a side note, No Man's Sky is even a bigger gamble because no one knows exactly what you're gonna do in it yet.
But there's space and you can see things.
Yeah, that's what we know. That game, I believe, has probably had one of the worst marketing of any game that I can remember recently. It's ridiculous. We know the end goal, and it basically they seem to be trying to advertise it the same way Elite Dangerous did, but Elite Dangerous already had a base following from the original Elite, and people knew what it was about.
Yeah, I think they start developing that game with the concept of we want like randomly generated planets that you can visit and then name them after yourself. But then I think they realised that that's not a game, and they needed more. And like,
that's basically what it is.
It's a good,
if you've seen
selling
IGN gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
It
just doesn't.
It's basically
go.
the breadth of an ocean with the depth of a kiddie pool, from what I can tell.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many places you can go to, but there's not actually anything to do. Like,
well, they claim on the, if you read the Steam description, they claim that you can either go out and be like an explorer, but they don't explain how that will help you finding things. They say, oh, you could be a trader, which, as I said, is basically Elite Dangerous's main gameplay. And it's like, oh, there's a pulse at the center of the galaxy that's pulling you towards it, and how you get there is up to you. That doesn't sell the game. Like, no. And they keep saying like, oh, there's these factions that are vying for control, and it's like, but is there going to be any point to joining any of them? Like, I know this is gone a bit off topic, but that game looks so good. I just want to know what it's about.
I mean, it might be amazing. We don't know, but I don't have high hopes for it. I'm nowhere near as excited for it as, you know.
Yeah, I just think aesthetically it looks beautiful. The ideas and the mechanics in it sound good, but what the actual game's about, I don't get.
No.
And I'm a bit worried the developer doesn't either.
Well, I think they just came at it with a concept of being able to explore and name planets and stuff, and then they've tried to build a game around it. Like,
yeah, it sounds at the moment, the way it's showed is as if it's a tech demo that they've then gone, let's make a game out of.
Pretty much. Which is Order 1886, is it not?
Well, I didn't play that piece of crap, so I wouldn't know as much as you.
Amazing. Because like, you can pick this piece of you can pick up this piece of paper and you can rotate it around and it flaps in the wind. It's just the best game you could ever wish to play. And like, you can look at a lamp and the light flickers, and that's your entertainment for the next 20 minutes.
So cinematic.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we talk about like exclusives and their pulling power and that, but like when you go back to like, say, Mega Drive, Super Nintendo era, like there was a reason to pick a specific side. Like, you look at the exclusives they had back then, things like Mario and Zelda and Metroid and Donkey Kong, and you know, all of those, like, these massive franchises that you did not get on another, like on Mega Drive, which was its competitor then. Like, and then if you wanted to be on the Mega Drive side, you got Sonic. So
yeah, but is that a case though of back then games were aimed at kids, so you had to convince the parents to buy a console, and they'd normally only be happy to buy one console, whereas now in these generations, those kids are now the adults with the money, and they can decide to buy both consoles.
Yeah.
So if anyone has most gamers generally who have that as their strong their main hobby, find a way to have the money to sustain that hobby. So most of them have both consoles. I would say if you took a poll of all gamers, even though there is still the console wars, I'd say most people probably game on multiple different platforms. Whereas back then you only had one, and you had to sort of justify having the one, didn't you?
Yeah. This is it. The problem is, like, if you've got a PS4 and Xbox One, they're both fairly similar specs. I know the PS4 is slightly more powerful and whatever, but like, why would you buy one over the other if you don't have content that's exclusive to that's worth having?
Literally just brand loyalty. That's all they've got anymore.
Yeah, this is it. And like, it was just good marketing on Sony's side. You say Xbox, they're dicks. They're doing everything wrong. We're not going to do those bad things. Like,
it wasn't even so much good marketing on Sony's side. It's the fact that Xbox fucked themselves in the arse, and Sony went reactionary. We're not
doing that.
All our stuff will be. Look, I think the best example of that was at the E3 where they announced both of them, when they run that little advert where it was like, this is how you share games on a PS4, and just handed a game to his friend.
Yeah.
It was like, that is how you market stuff. Just shit on your competitors when they're doing everything wrong. You don't really have to put much effort into it.
No, but that's... Well, I know PS4's got a huge lead now over Xbox One. Like, it's not even close anymore. Like, they're outselling them like 2-1 at this point.
And that's kind of why Microsoft are trying to dump a load of games onto the PC market, because they can't shift Xbox Ones properly.
Yeah, but then they're trying to push everything through games, what they call it, the Xbox Store, rather than putting their shit on Steam, because everyone loved games for Windows Live, so they want games for Windows Live too. So.
Yeah, 2.0. So yeah, I don't know what barrel of monkeys they use to make their decisions over at Microsoft's Xbox part, but they need to shoot them and start again, because just the last few years they've been making constant cock-ups. It's weird.
Yeah, well, Phil Spencer does make a lot of good decisions, like, because he wasn't the guy who made all of the always online stuff. Like, he came in to try and fix it all, and like, he got rid of all that stuff, and like, the whole thing about backwards compatibility and stuff like that, he's trying to
but he's not the only one that makes the decisions.
No, he's not. But like, he's trying to fix it. But my point is, like, in terms of like games and stuff, there's not a huge amount of reason to pick one side over the other anymore. And I think that's a good thing for a gamer. Like, because if you want Bloodborne but you don't have a console, it's not in a gamer's interest to say you have to buy this £400 machine to play it.
It's good that the problem is, like you said, it's good that exclusive games in themselves are going, but the problem is that they're being replaced with exclusive content, which is just money grabbing bullshit.
And it's also breaking up the game.
Yeah, DLC
for, like, say you've bought this £40 game, and big chunks of it are missing unless you're playing on in the correct place. And sometimes that will be the case that Xbox has one thing and PlayStation has another, so you can never experience all of it.
The full content.
You can only see one half of it.
DLC as a concept is crap anyway, because it's just
as a core set concept.
The way it's being used, at the moment, is crap anyway, because all they use it for is, let's slice off this chunk of the game and sell it to them later. So then to do that on a console basis is even worse. It's anti-consumer and just trying to money grab as much as they possibly can.
Well, like originally with things like, again, like example for Oblivion, the whole point of DLC there was you've played the full game, you loved it, now you can buy Shivering Isles, which is another 10-15 hours of content on top.
That's the thing, is that DLC started as the console's version of expansion packs for PC games.
Yeah.
That's what it began as, and now you get PC exclusive games with DLC all over them.
Yeah.
It's dark.
The way that the culture of exclusives is moving is chopping up games more. You see it fucking like Street Fighter 5 like the other week, just not having any of the modes. And
it still doesn't have everything in it yet, does it?
No, there's no story. I don't own it, but
I believe the story mode's in it.
What, full story mode?
I believe so, because I believe, like, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe X Valiance was streaming it and doing story mode for different fighters.
Yeah, but there was always a story mode, but there was never a full story mode. There was just like these 2 little fights per character.
Oh yeah, it's like the mini stories for each character. Yeah, but they haven't even, considering fighting games started in the arcade, there isn't even an arcade mode in it.
Nope. They thought they just considered maybe adding it later, maybe if we're really good.
Yeah. It's just dumb. We've ragged on Street Fighter 5 enough last week, to be fair.
No, there's not even close to being enough. You have to call these twats out on being twats.
Yeah, it's getting depressing the way things are being cut up now, though.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I know, like, the future, like in general, is not good. Like, especially with early access becoming a thing on consoles as well. So now you can't even get a complete game on console anymore, and think, yeah, PC, okay, you can get small experiences that aren't finished yet, and we'll play. You can play bits of it, but I'll play on console and I'll get my full game. That's not even a thing anymore. It's just a shit state of things, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there much else we can say about this before I go and slip my wrists somewhere?
Anything you want to add, Stem?
Mostly it's just sort of reiterating what you guys already said, which is, exclusives inherently are anti-consumer, unless there's only pretty much one instance I can think of. The game would somehow be cut down or something like that to support a platform that can't meet the hardware required to have a more full game. So, in this sense, something PC exclusive, like a Star Citizen or something like that, a really massive game that really only works on PC. So trying to take it and put it on a PS4 or an Xbox One or whatever, you're cutting something out. You're diminishing it in some way. There's something that's taken from its essence.
Yeah, that's the other point of what you were saying about like Mario and all that back in the day. They're all first party characters, first party licenses, and that's the big problem with Xbox and Sony, is that most of their games nowadays aren't first party. That's the only way.
All of their big franchises are kind of dead. Like Metal Gear Solid, that's everywhere. Final Fantasy, that's everywhere. Crash Bandicoot, Activision owns it, killed it off. Ratchet and Clank, killed it off. I know they're rebooting it, but
we'll see about that.
See where it is as well.
But that's the thing. The only console that still has lots and lots of exclusives is Nintendo, because they don't change anything. They keep with their first party stuff and they churn out. I mean, Mario's so milked to death now. I'm surprised he's not just a little flat corpse at this point. Like,
yeah,
they'll keep
they've got their
churning him out.
content and they'll stick to it.
Yeah, and I mean it works for them, but both.
Yeah,
both
but it doesn't.
Xbox,
How many people actually own Wii U's? It doesn't work.
but they still sell those first-party games, and everybody knows about them.
Everyone who has a Wii U has Mario or has Smash and Mario Kart and whatever.
So whereas Xbox and that, like you said, they've let all their first-party stuff die, or they've brokered a deal to let it go over to the other console as well. So, I mean that kind of the whole culture is of what's the word, like homogenizing it, making it we need to make everything as available to everyone as possible, so everything gets diluted and everything gets just.
I think we're slowly heading that way with Nintendo. I mean, we're starting to get handheld like mobile games and stuff, aren't we, from them? And like, if this NX fails, and that, like, it's something that people have been crying out for years, that they want to see Smash on PS4 or whatever. Like, I think we're slowly heading to that point where especially if the NX fails and they run out of their pennies, like we may well see the last dying breed of exclusive.
It depends what Nintendo do, because it seems the last few consoles they've released have either been massive blockbuster hits that everybody has to have one of, or
horrendous failures.
died in a ditch. Like
it seems to alternate, kind of. To be honest,
it's the Wii U thing. Is that they didn't, like, when the Wii U was first talked about, I didn't even realise, and I think a lot of people didn't, that it was a new console. Everybody thought it was just an add-on for the Wii. Yeah, they brought it out so quickly, relatively quickly after the Wii, because they were out of sync with the current console generation.
Because it was so horrendously underpowered, like compared to the competition. I couldn't even run it in HD at all. It was all just fuzzy mess.
Yeah.
Like your PC Master Race nerds care about your FPSs and your graphics and things, so it just fucked it, didn't it?
Well,
yeah.
Okay. I'll counterpoint, since you're trying to trick me here. The Wii U has never sold itself on having amazing graphics.
This is true.
It sold itself on strong first-party titles or fun to play. It never tried to go, we're gonna make the best, most powerful thing that we possibly can, this amount of money, this price bracket, so we can have these old realistic graphics. Nintendo's never done that.
This is true. They've never tried to keep up, because, well, they always seem to be behind in that department. Their consoles have always been less powerful. Like N64, less powerful than the PlayStation. GameCube, less powerful than the PS2. Wii, less powerful than the PS3. Wii U, less powerful than the PS4, Xbox One. Like, I don't know. I guess that's not the point of those consoles, but like it's still important. Like, I don't know. Is there much else we want to say about exclusives before we wrap up? Exclusive consoles?
I was gonna add one more point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which was that I think Microsoft sort of is seeing the end coming for consoles as we know them. I don't think after this generation there will be consoles in the way that we understand them and know them today. They'll be something else. And I think Microsoft picked up on it. They're going about it the wrong way as far as Windows Store is concerned, which is basically Games for Windows Live V2 for most people.
Pretty much.
At this current point in time. But I think they sort of see where things are going, and they're like, well, we can't really... The console manufacturers are losing money on consoles. Even if they sell, Sony's selling tons of them, they're still making up the loss of PlayStation 3, which was, they hemorrhaged money.
Yeah, but they they broke even towards the end though. Like they were towards the end of the PS3 life cycle, it was selling really well and was catching. They never was going to catch up to 360, but they were making money towards the end.
Yeah, they started to sort of even out in that generation towards the end.
That was only after a pretty massive price cut.
Yeah,
and we saw that again this generation, and the consoles were even less expensive for them to make, and they lost less money initially on R&D for it, and they still took a loss. So I think that eventually they'll realize that that's not the way to go, and that's why they're pushing content exclusivity instead of
but haven't they
a game exclusivity.
Sorry, hasn't most generations though? They say that the consoles always sell at a loss, but it's the games that they then make the money back on. Isn't that just a general rule for pretty much everything?
It can be, but we're going to go back to that point that you guys were talking about. There's less first-party titles for Microsoft, particularly, and Sony has less of them, I think, too.
Yeah.
So if that's your main selling point of your console, to make up the loss that you're taking on the actual manufacturer of the console, you're still losing money.
Yeah, because you're not putting the bit out that makes your money back.
Yeah, you're not only not selling the console, you're not selling the games that people want, so they buy the console to play the games. So that's a problem. I think that's why content exclusivity is more and more of a thing. I think that's sort of the natural evolution of where things are going. We'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, I think there's still life in consoles. I still even if it'll, like, people think that it's always going to be about the PC. Like, people don't always want to be hunched over a desk playing games. People want to play games in their living room and stuff. And like, I think console, like you said, like there's likely to be a different like concept for consoles, but there'll always be something.
I can see them going to a console eventually, maybe not the next generation, but maybe if they survive a couple more, of a purely digital console, if you know what.
Yeah, that is coming.
So here's a crazy forecast. Since the Windows Store, there will be a Sony store. This is very like future crazy. Let's don our tinfoil hats for a moment. There's a Windows store, and or a Microsoft store, Windows store, and there's a Sony store, and they're on the PC. And everyone who wants to play games, has a PC, a gaming capable PC in their house, and they have another box that they can get that's significantly cheaper. That
they stream the games
that you stream the games to in your living room, but only if you have the box. So let's say you get the Sony box. You can only stream your Sony store stuff to that box. If you get the Microsoft box, you can only stream that. So
it still fucks over people with shit internet.
It does. That's why I'm saying like maybe content exclusivity. That's sort of the evolution of it later on.
Yeah, it's like
you gotta buy this cheap box. It's maybe like $50 or whatever, and it just like checks that, oh yeah, you have this game and you're connected to the Sony store. Yeah, you can stream that game here.
That's why everyone resisted Xbox One so heavily when it was first announced. It's not like all digital isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, you know, it works with PC, like with Steam. People are fine with it. It's the fact that like a lot of console gamers who live in areas with shit internet, it fucks them.
Not only that, though, the other reason that they resisted the a digital only idea is because a lot of people who are on low incomes do still rely on getting new games through trading in their old ones, and you can't do that digitally.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing I'm worrying about, because like that's
how I picked up Twilight Princess this week, is because I traded in Far Cry Primal because I broke it.
That's how I picked up a 2DS and Pokemon. Because I traded in about 5 other games. I'm going to have to trade if I want to get UFC when it comes out, even though I've pre-ordered it. I'm going to have to trade for it.
Imagine if there was something within an existing service or a new service where you could trade Steam keys.
Well,
yeah, but
G2A, sort of.
Well, that's still a market. I mean, like, oh, I have this game, it's valued at this market value, I'll trade it in for that thing at equal market value or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with that is the thing that first pops into my mind is people hacking it. People hacking into it and saying like, yeah, I'll trade this for your thing, and then you get their file and it's got fuck all in it.
Well, no, it's not like it's a market that's facilitated through something like Steam that already checks that you actually own the game.
Yeah,
I can see what like you're saying, like the equivalent of games trading policy, but Steam doing it, basically saying I want to buy, Division next week. I'm going to trade in my keys for these 3 games. I'm not going to play anymore, and that's the money covered.
But that's the thing is because it's on a digital platform though, because there's no limited stock, because it is digital, then there's no resale value when they can put a new one up on sale for a little while. Like they don't
that
need
is the problem.
There is no, it's not like they then take their digital key and exactly. They're not going to sell it cheaper because it's been a used key or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's them basically saying if you don't have these games anymore, you can have this one for free. So it's them just losing money for no reason, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd have to find a way to work around that, but
I don't. If I honestly think if the games industry ever goes fully digital, secondhand games will have to become a thing of the past. Yeah. Like you'll never get trade-ins ever again.
No. And that will kill it for people with very little money. Like
yes, that'll fuck it for a lot of people. They'll see that a lot of their units shifted will go down. Because a lot of people, even when you go to like midnight launches for games, like the amount of people that turn up with bags full of old games to make the cost easier, like those people just won't turn up.
No. Yeah, so are we sort of done with what we want to say for that thing?
I'm suitably depressed.
Everyone's twats.
I saved you all from the rant that I was gonna go on about the Windows Store thing. With regards to like the VSync and borderless window and all that stuff. Basically, Microsoft stopped.
Okay. Load of techie nonsense of them being twats, basically.
Fix yo shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sort of
that man from Microsoft who's definitely not listening to us. Listen to the man.
Yeah, they can basically be summed up in as basic things that PC players want to use, you won't be able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GG. Alright, so shall we wrap up there? I think. Yeah. Stemor, where can we find you? What do you do? What's going on with your life? What do you do on the internet?
Well, you as I said at the beginning, you can find me at twitch.tv/STEMOR61. And as you can see on the screen there, you can also find me at Twitter at the same thing. You can pretty much find me everywhere on the internet with that name.
Even some XXX websites.
Yeah.
Do we have to pay extra
specifically RedTube. I have tons of uploads there.
So do we have to pay extra for that? Is that a subscription thing or is that free?
No, that's only my browser's content.
Okay.
This stream brought to you by browsers.
Why are we not getting sponsored by them? That's
and
a good
JG
question.
Wentworth.
The amount of times we talk about boobs.
Boobs and dicks, we should be sponsored by them at this point. Yeah,
I think so too. So for everyone, all of the plug-in stuff, you can watch this podcast live on twitch.tv/lim89 every Sunday at 6 PM GMT. That's where we record live. You can come hang out, get involved in the conversation. Then the following day, Monday, we upload the VOD to YouTube. And if you just search YouTube for bonusXP podcast, you'll find us. And you can watch it there. You can comment and get involved there. And then on Wednesday, the audio podcast goes live everywhere. So SoundCloud, iTunes, any podcast service that you choose for Android, we're on all of them. So you can download us and have us in your ears on the go.
Also on redtube.com/bonusXP.
That's true. We are there as well. But that's supposed to be like a hidden internet Easter egg. You're supposed to not advertise. That's supposed to be like a little surprise.
Just like
advertise the other one.
Messages, you're ruining everything.
The other one is secret. I kept that one a secret.
Oh, okay. That's
We'll discuss that later.
We've got to have it. We've got to have the Easter eggs for people to find. You see, makes it exciting.
Mm.
So, thank you everybody for coming and tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this show, and we will see you all soon. So take care, guys.
Bye.